Purple Eagles Weekly is brought to you by Ad Pro Sports Elite Team Gear, Wendy's Old Fashioned Hamburgers, Steve Baldo Ford in Niagara Falls, Crown Plaza Hotel Niagara Falls, the official hotel of Niagara Athletics, and by Pepsi.
Welcome to Purple Eagles Weekly here on Time Warner Cable Sports Net. I'm your host, Jeremy White. A big-time edition of Purple Eagles Weekly. It is crunch time in the winter sports, and we'll check in with a number of teams that are headed to the playoffs. We'll also check in with Niagara assistant coach of the hockey team, Jay McKee, and talk about what he's got going on with this hockey team and how he helps them get ready for the conference tournament as well. But first, we're going to start with women's basketball. Head coach Kendra Faustin and Megan Waterman, a junior forward, joining us here on Purple Eagles Weekly. And it is crunch time. It's playoff time. So what's it mean to be heading to the conference tournament and taking on Canisius to start?
Well, we always talk about our season in three parts: our non-conference, our conference, and then the conference tournament is that last part. And it's a new life. It's anything goes. It's a lot of preparation. It's different for our players. It's prepare for one game, and they're really focused on that. For our staff, we'll go into it with 3 scouting reports for our first game and the winner of the second game that we would play. And so it's a lot of preparation. There's a ton of excitement. It's a different feel. It's a different type of energy and intensity. So it's a great time, and it's a great time for our young players to get some good experience at a different level.
And Megan, I'll ask you the kind of experience that you can get in this spot. We know you have a young team, so when it comes to the playoffs, how much different does it become for those players?
I believe it's a lot different because it's the playoffs and anything goes. Everyone's tired from their seasons, but because it's the tournament,
The Meet the Coach segment is brought to you by the Crown Plaza Niagara Falls, the place to meet. Back here on Purple Eagles Weekly, we'll check in with the men's hockey team, and we're going to meet a very special coach, a new addition to the Purple Eagles men's hockey staff. Familiar name, familiar face. Earlier this week, I caught up with volunteer assistant, former NHLer Jay McKee. And here at Dwyer Arena with volunteer assistant hockey coach Jay McKee, a familiar face to plenty of people around this area. Jay, you joined the coaching staff this year. For anyone that doesn't know exactly what it is that you're doing, explain to us why you joined the staff and what your role is.
Well, I was fortunate enough to have Dave Burkholder allow me to skate with the guys when I was hoping to find an NHL job this year. Skating with these guys, when I realized I probably wouldn't sign somewhere, he asked if I wanted to be on board and be a volunteer coach, and it was something that over the years I knew I wanted to do when I was done playing, and it was kind of an easy decision. So for now, it's going out there, skating with the guys. Sometimes I go in full gear, sometimes I go out there and just in the sweatpants and skate the guys around, but it's just kind of a transition for me, and it's something I've enjoyed.
And you and Berkey had a relationship well before this.
Yeah, he was my junior hockey coach. He was a big part of me making the step to the NHL. I think if I can pinpoint the year that really turned things around for me when I was a kid was the year that I got on board with him and Chris Johnson in Niagara Falls, and yeah, they were a huge part in helping me become an NHL hockey player. So knowing him back then made the transition a lot easier now.
You say it's something you always wanted to do, maybe get into coaching. Has this year made it so you want to do it even more? I mean, what have you learned along the way?
I think you learn that. I think I knew the whole time that there's a lot more to coaching than showing up and going out there and skating with the guys on the ice. There's a lot of things behind the scenes that go on. You've got a lot of different personalities in the players that are on your team. There's a lot of different aspects to it, and coaching is it's a 24-hour job. Kind of, there's a lot of things you have to think about for the day before, the week before, the upcoming team, the season in general. So. It's definitely something I've enjoyed. It's just kind of get my feet wet in the aspect of coaching, and to have the opportunity to do it here at Niagara, a Division I college team, and seeing how things work. They've got a great coaching staff here, and I think they've taught me real well. It's something I definitely would like to do down the road in the future.
And obviously, a former NHLer walks into the locker room. It's instant credibility on one level, but at the same time, how much do you have to work to really get a relationship with any of these players? If you're working with a defenseman, working one-on-one, what kind of questions are they asking you?
It was interesting at first. The first day that I got here, I came with my gear and went to the locker room with the guys, and it was real loud when I walked in. It got real quiet real fast. So there's a transition for everybody. The players, I think they know and respect what a guy does that plays in the NHL for a long time, and so you just try to make a bond with the guys, and at first I tried to be in the room as a player and as just one of the guys and get to know them, which was I was probably in there for a good month, so I got to know them on a personal level, and then kind of made the switch over to the coaching room and started to coach the players. So this is a transition for me. I have to get to learn the players, their personalities, how they play as players, and go from there.
Maybe one thing you're best known for Back on Purple Eagles Weekly, I'm Jeremy White. We go back out on location, except this time Todd Kellen does all the heavy lifting. He checks in with Niagara men's basketball coach Joe Mahalik.
Thanks so much, Jeremy. I'm now joined by Purple Eagles head coach Joe Mahalik. And coach, for the first time in a long time, your team will be forced to play 4 games in 4 days if you're going to go ahead and win the MAC championship. No one's ever done that. What makes it so tough?
Well, I hate to correct you right away, but Siena did it one year. They did. Yes, they did. And I know that because they beat us in the championship game. So it can be done. That's why I know that, because it can be done. And, you know, we're dreaming of Dayton. I say that all the time because we would most likely be going to Dayton for the play-in game, and that'd be fine with us. It'd be a positive problem. As tough as that is, you know, at this time of the year, these guys would rather play a game than practice anyway. 4 games in 4 games. By the time you get to that 4th game, you're just going on adrenaline anyway. You'd probably have a great confidence factor going, and our guys would be so happy to be there, I don't think we'd feel tired for another week.
Promises to be a very tough tournament for all the teams. And one of the things you've said over the years is we respect everyone, but we fear no one, and this season is no different. Talk a little bit further about what you mean by that statement.
Well, you know, I'll point to the one weekend we had here where we had 2 teams tied for first place. Fairfield came here and Iona came here. And in both games, late in the game, the score was tied. We had a chance to beat both of those guys. So, you know, we didn't get it done that night, but we feel like we've gotten better since then. And we feel like we could beat those teams. Now, we'd have to play awfully good, but we feel like we could beat those teams.
Now, last week, back here on your home floor, the Purple Eagles, Anthony Nelson set the all-time assist record here at Niagara University. Talk about that mark in and of itself, and bigger picture, the kind of imprint he's made on your program.
You know, I've said many times that in 2005, when Alvin Cruz set the record, I mean, he blew past the record. The record was like in the high 400s, and he ended his career with 630 assists. And I remember saying, that'll never get broken. And sure enough, I was wrong again, because just 6 years later, here's Anthony Nelson breaking the record. You know, when you can get that many assists, I think it just speaks to your basketball IQ, your knowledge of the game. Not just your ability, your talents, your athletic skills, but the fact that you can see the game in slow motion, and you can see guys getting open, and you can make plays and get the ball to the right people at the right time. And, you know, he's done it this year, and, you know, being quite candid, he's done it this year with some non-scorers. He's got a lot of assists this year with guys that aren't great scorers. So it's a real credit to him. And, you know, it's funny, Alvin Cruz emailed me and said, well, I guess I'll be number 2. And my response to him was, nobody's number 2. Nobody's number 2. Y'all never think of you as number 2. But just like Anthony Nelson is, you know, those guys are 2 of the greatest point guards we've ever had here.
Your team had another fine February as you springboard into March Madness. Talk about what the difference was February 2011 as compared to earlier in the season, some November, December, January games.
Well, I'm really proud of this team because we really had a horrible December and January. We had a lot of chances to kind of really go the other way, and our kids just wouldn't let that happen. We came every day with a fresh outlook. You know, our mantra became, let's just win this game. Let's just concentrate on one game. And we got better and better. And, you know, I'll go back to a horrible stretch where we lose at Drexel, at UMBC, at Fairfield, at St. Peter's. But since then, we've only had one horrible outing. And every one of those games since then, we've played pretty well. So, you know, we feel like we're getting better. And we've said all along, you can't change December and January. But at the beginning of February, we said, let's be a team at the end of February, at the beginning of March, that nobody really wants to play.
Now let's talk a little bit about the pedigree of your program and the leadership. Juan Mendez passed the torch to Sharon Fisher, who then handed it off to Tyrone Lewis. Then Anthony Nelson took that torch. Might be a tough question, but do we have someone to step up and take that torch from Anthony as the years go forward?
You know, there is no clear answer for that. There really isn't. You know, Anthony kind of separates himself from everybody else in those categories. We've got some freshmen, Marvin Jordan, Malcolm Lemons, who are high character guys. Could be one of those two. Might be a new guy. It's hard to say. It's really hard to say.
Now, let's talk a little bit about those new guys. I know you've signed a couple, and you're allowed to speak freely about them. Maybe preview next season a little bit for us with those new guys coming in.
Well, you know, the first new guys you talk about, and one of them's not really that new, is Antoine Mason, because he played 3 games for us. And, you know, it's funny, he just came back and started practicing the other day, and, man, our team looked a lot better with him out there. Bigger, stronger, more athletic. He's a physical guy. He's a tough guy. So, you know, there's a new guy right there, Antoine Mason. We also redshirted a freshman, Joe Thomas from Miami, Florida, who we really like. There were days in practice when we thought, we wondered if we did the right thing to redshirt him because he was blocking Eric Williams and Scooter Gillette's shots and scoring on them and banging them around. And you know, we did question ourselves every once in a while. But he was a late bloomer, didn't play a lot in high school, so you know, he's a new guy as well. And then we signed 2 high school seniors so far. Wanye Green was just named co-MVP of the Philadelphia Catholic League, and he's a point guard. We're excited about him. He's had a great year. He just set the record for most points in a playoff game with 39 the other day, and his team will play for the championship this coming Monday. And another guy by the name of Amin Tanksley, who also plays at Imhotep in Philadelphia, at Imhotep, which is the same high school as Kashif Edwards. And Amin is a tough, rugged, physical, maybe a Bilal Ben kind of guy who can get you both ways and score around the basket and score from outside. And his team, too, has a good chance to win the state championship. So we're getting winners, we're getting good players, and, you know, I think the future is really bright.
Well, certainly sounds it, Coach. The cupboard not bare by any stretch. Well, we want to thank Coach Holly for visiting with us, and, Coach, we wish you the best of luck in the upcoming tournament.
Well, thank you, Voice.
Jeremy, back to you.
All right, thanks very much, Todd. Coming up next, the women's hockey team also heading to the playoffs here on Purple Eagles Weekly. Welcome back to Purple Eagles Weekly. I'm Jeremy White. Our playoff push show continues, and we check in with women's hockey. Women's hockey head coach Chris McKenzie and senior goaltender Jenny Bauer here on Purple Eagles Weekly. It is playoff push time. It's crunch time. You guys have Syracuse for the 3rd consecutive year. So are you peaking? You know, where's the team right now heading into the most important time of the season?
Well, we've saved our best hockey for our second half, and in our last 10 games, we've been 6-2-2. So we're pretty happy there. We had the opportunity to play Syracuse last weekend. We went 0-2, but we're very familiar with them, and we feel good actually going into Friday.
Jenny, what's the difference for 6-2-2 in the last 10 games? What have you noticed from your teammates, from the whole group that has made this the best time of year so far?
I think we came back from Christmas pretty eager to play. We had a long break after we finished with Robert Morris at home, and I think we've just been really tight defensively, and I think we're a tough team to play against.
What kind of view do you get? I mean, how can you tell how the team's playing from net? I mean, do you communicate with coach and say that you'll notice maybe the D's doing this, the forwards are doing this? I mean, does the goaltender really have the best view of anyone on the ice?
I guess so, because you're the last one back there. But I don't know. I can just usually tell how the girls are communicating with each other and flow of the game, how much traffic is in front of our net, and how much time we're spending in their zone.
What's it like to have someone on the opposition, you're playing in the playoffs, who might be one of your chief rivals?
It's different. We talk almost every day, so I don't know if we'll be talking much on Friday before the game. I don't know. It's nice to have somebody there who knows how exciting it is to be going to the playoffs. So.
Well, the playoffs begin, and you're playing your best hockey, but I also want to talk about what you've been able to do, because CHA Goalie of the Week 3 times this year, 9 times in your career, and then the awards start. I could just list them here. Nominated for the Patty Kazmaier Memorial Award as the top player in Division I women's ice hockey. What does it mean to you to see your name as a nominee for that?
It's an honor. I was looking at the list, and there are a lot of really good hockey players on there. It's nice to be recognized with those other girls. I think it says a lot. I think the list was 26 girls, and it's a lot about their commitment and time you put in to do this. And
a first-team All-Star. I mean, what can you say enough about her game?
Well, we're real fortunate to have Jenny with us. She is, clearly one of our most valuable players, and her consistency has really helped our team this year, especially being a young team. We really look to her for leadership on and off the ice, and she's provided that, and she deserves the accolades that she's receiving.
Jenny, what's it like, and I guess as a senior, you've been in this spot before, do you like having that amount of pressure? Do you feel going into a game that everyone's kind of looking to you in that spot?
I like the pressure, yeah. I think it makes it almost easier to play because it's an important game. The challenge is when you're playing a game when there's no pressure, because you have to find a way to find something to motivate you.
Now, I also want to mention another award, the BNY Mellon Wealth Management Hockey Humanitarian Award. You were a finalist for that. Talk about what that was and how you became a finalist for that award.
Yeah, I could probably speak to that. It's an award.
You get to read it?
No.
You got to let her read it.
Well, she's busy doing everything that would get her nominated for this. She's really involved in the community. She's a great student and a performer too, and that's kind of it's an award for hockey's finest citizen.
Well, congratulations on the nomination, on the finalist, and best of luck against Syracuse. CHA tournament.
That's good coming from you. That's really
well,
good.
hey, it's my alma mater, but I'll root for you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, that'll do it for us on Purple Eagles Weekly. See you Saturday at Dwyer Arena, Niagara Canisius first round of the Atlantic Hockey Playoffs. Good night, everyone.